out to Reed for three. And Nas Reed laces
They made it really difficult on LA.
And Gobert got the block on James. Off and running again, a 3-on-2. Reed out to the three-point line. Splash down. Here he is off the wide action, and DiVincenzo holds it and laces the deep three. Dante with some dynamite.
Welcome back to the All Things Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Vic Lopez, as always, and today I'm going to be doing quick takeaways, some numbers checking, but mainly just quick thoughts on Lakers versus Timberwolves, which was a pretty disappointing game, but also, if you really want to look at the big picture of it, hopefully a really long series, and we'll get into that in a little bit. I'm also going to talk a little bit about Nuggets-Clippers, which was a series I was trying to do a pod for before the series started because of how fun a couple of those games were in the regular season, even though some of those games were not the updated rosters, but a lot of the similar things that I was worried about for Denver, and they were able to overcome it at least in game one at home, and we're going to get into that as well. So, I'm going to start in order. I don't know why I was going to start with Lakers-Timberwolves. So, Nuggets-Clippers, incredible game. I think everyone knew, anyone who watched the regular season between these two teams and kind of seeing how the Clippers were trending, the way they were playing defensively all year long, the two-way play from them, the pick and rolls with Zubats and Harden, the isolations with Kawhi Leonard, and, the others just being there and doing all the rest. Like, you have Derrick Jones Jr. picking up assignments on defense, turning defense into offense, making things difficult. You got Norm Powell having an awesome year for himself. It's just a collection of players that, it looks like a 2K team where you're trying to put all these guys together. And I was very optimistic for this team. So watching them do this, I'm actually not surprised. And if you watched the over-under pod when I was talking about the Clippers, I was really on the fence of, I think this team is going to surprise some people. Now, they've been doing just that, and while they did let this game slip away, and I received texts like, hey, Clippers clipping again, and a couple of people messaged me about the Clippers losing in the most Clipper way possible, where you think they're going to run away with it, and then they kind of choke it away. But Clippers, man, with that Harden-Zubats pick and roll, it has been problematic for the Nuggets pretty much all year long, and that's because you bring out Jokic to guard a high pick and roll, and all of a sudden you're putting two on the ball because they like to show Jokic on those pick and rolls, have him kind of, show his hands, have active hands, and try to get a deflection. Jokic actually one of the leaders in deflections, so he does get his hands on a lot of passes. So yeah, that has worked for the Nuggets somewhat, but obviously their defense hasn't been good all year, and that was something I was really concerned about going into this series, and it's something I'm still going to obviously be looking for. Now, Nuggets survive in a game where Jamal Murray and Russ combined for 12 for 37 from the field. And look, man, this is the Russell Westbrook experience in a nutshell. Just game one against his former team. He has a horrible shooting performance. The splits in this game are horrendous. If you look at this box score, you're thinking Russ killed it for them. He ruined their game, right? If you're not looking at who won. And then you watch the game and you see the impact through all that inefficiency, through all the scars, all the bad shooting and the bad moments, because the Clippers are going to cheat away from Russ. They're going to dare him to shoot. And late in this game, in the fourth quarter, with I think it was just under 40 seconds left, Russ hits the biggest corner three of that game. And obviously the game goes OT after that, but Russ hitting that big shot just wide open. It's extremely high pressure because it's all right, here's that moment that the Clippers are daring you to be a part of, right? And it's to knock down the open three under pressure. And Russ knocked it down, to his credit. And the unsung hero of this game were the offensive boards. If you're talking about a hero from a statistical standpoint, the offensive rebounds down the stretch for the Nuggets were such a killer for the Clippers. They could not grab rebounds late in the game down the stretch after those Nuggets missed shots. Russ misses a shot. He crashes the boards and grabs a rebound. Christian Brown misses a shot. Aaron Gordon grabs another rebound. It was just, it felt like a million offensive rebounds in such a short time, in just down the stretch of the most important parts of the game. And I feel like that was really what sealed the game, right? Jokic was incredible. Harden was awesome. He is so far surviving the allegations. Now, obviously, people are on Harden about elimination games, not, games that aren't going to be decided yet, right? Like not a game where this is a game one, right? So we still expect Harden to be really good. Harden was excellent in this game, and even in overtime, it looked like he was also going to help take the game away for the Clippers, and it just didn't happen. Now, one last thing I want to do as a takeaway from this game. Michael Porter Jr., where are you, bro? You're making $180 million over the course of 5 years. Where are you at, bro? Like, what are these? Let me see. What 1 for 4 from the field, 3 points. Shout out to David Adelman for making the tough decision of saying, you know what, man? You don't have it today. I'm going to bench you, and we're going to move on with the rest of our guys. And they grind it out. They come back. They win the game. And, they're up 1-0 in this series. Obviously doing what they're supposed to do, which is win at home. I think this series is going to go the distance. I thought, even before the series started, that this series is looking like a 7-game series just because of the complications defensively that the Nuggets are going to have to deal with. And look, man, surviving a poor shooting game combined from Russ and Murray, even though when you talk about Murray's shooting splits in this game, it's about the timeliness of Murray's baskets. He made big shots down the stretch as well. So while you're looking at the numbers and you're thinking, man, yeah, with the assists and all the other stuff, and, he did get I think it was 21 points that he scored, but it wasn't an efficient game for Murray, but yet making the big ones, right? The ones that matter. And that's kind of what happened. Aaron Gordon was huge. He showed up in this game, and it was a great game from Zubats as well. That's going to be a really fun, sneaky battle between two bigs, is Zubats and Jokic, just kind of going at it down low. Jokic pulling him out and, taking threes, obviously, and seeing if he can beat him off the dribble and draw two. That's just a really fun matchup between two bigs that we don't really see often enough. Yeah, really good game. I want to move on to Lakers T-Wolves, which was a disappointing one. And look, let's get to the data real quick on the box score. I was talking about on the last pod with the Lakers Timberwolves pod, if the T-Wolves shooting doesn't show up, then I like the Lakers in the series. If they're going to be shooting it well, which that's how they've been trending post All-Star. If you look at the numbers post All-Star, how they've been shooting as a team. And obviously Randall's catch and shoot numbers post All-Star, his 3-point percentage post All-Star, all of that stuff has really held up and clearly showed itself in game one. Catch and shoot threes for the Timberwolves in this game, 66.7%. That is you can't overcome that if you're the Lakers, because you're already not going to be a great defensive team. So that's something the T-Wolves are going to be doing. They're going to play hard. They're going to play defense. They're going to use up as many fouls as possible. They're going to step over that line as often as possible to see how much they can get away with their aggression, which is why the great defensive teams tend to cause a lot of problems in the playoffs, even though they may struggle to score. And the Timberwolves haven't had that problem. So Jaden McDaniels. This was the McDaniels and Naz Reid game. Now, putting Luka on McDaniels is something that we saw in the regular season in one game. It's also something that we expected because the Lakers are looking for ways to put Luka or Austin Reeves on the lesser of all the threats, the lesser of all the shooters, right? Just the weaker shooters on the floor so that they can help plug on drives and try to help protect the paint and force a kick out and hopefully play the gamble game of, okay, Jaden McDaniels, maybe he'll just make 33% of his threes, whatever the number you want it to be. And he made them pay in this game. He was absolutely awesome. He was a rebound shy of a 25-10 game. Awesome stuff for McDaniels. 84.6% from the field. He made all 3 of his threes. He was so aggressive. And Anthony Edwards post-game, they interviewed him and McDaniels on the sideline, and he was telling the reporter, who I forget who it was, that they were just telling McDaniels, you need to be aggressive, you need to stay aggressive, shoot all the shots, put the ball down, get to the rim, challenge your defender. And this is incredible boost of confidence from your best player trickling down on one of your important role players. It's very important that McDaniel stays aggressive because, yes, when you look at the matchup details, if you look at the tracking data, and if you also just watch the game, for the most part, it's Austin Reeves and it's Luka Doncic on Jaden McDaniels. And they're cheating away, and maybe they're closing out late. And then by the time you do decide to start guarding him, he's already feeling it. He's already caught fire. He's already feeling good. And shots start to fall even when he's contested. And then that confidence starts to build. And now he becomes more of a threat. And now it just blows the whole game plan out of the water. So, that's going to be a very interesting thing to look at with the Timberwolves. Can they continue to apply pressure on the weaker defenders the Lakers have out there? And game 1 looked like the answer is yes. So obviously the Lakers were horrendous defensively. They didn't really look into this game, which is very strange. I don't know what it's going to take for a team to not have it on, like not turn it up in the playoffs. Hopefully they respond. LeBron did say some things like maybe they needed game 1 to be over with so they can just kind of get a feel for this game. But the Minnesota Timberwolves are not messing around. They're not going to play around with you. They are going to play hard every single night. And if you're going to come in here and think that you're just going to cheat away from people and, play some lackadaisical defense, Timberwolves are going to play you at 150% at all times. They may do stupid things. You got Randle with the 7 turnovers. By the way, Julius Randle, just like this is probably the best 7 turnover game that he could ever ask for. He had those 16 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He's finding teammates. He had just the most Randallist experience with those 7 turnovers. Just like doing the bully ball stuff that doesn't go his way, throwing passes away, doing crazy things. But all in all, he shot the ball well. He was 4 for 6 from 3. And he just, he didn't let people cheat away from him and not make them pay for it, right? He was making the Lakers pay for that. And this was a great win for the Timberwolves. By the way, Naz Reid as well, who I did mention earlier, those 23 points, he was on fire. And he had 2 great blocks. One on LeBron on a drive, which was awesome to see. And then he had the more impressive one, in my opinion, where he's like picking up, I don't even remember, I know he blocked Hachimura, but I forget he was closing out on a pass, and I think he then closed out on another potential pass, and then he ends up cutting all the way to the last reversal in the corner where it found Hachimura, and he just gets that block. And that's just the Timberwolves in a nutshell as well. Just they're going to try so hard. They're going to play very hard, and that's just the real narrative of this whole game. Like, this is just how this played out, right? They played harder, and they were better. They were the better team in this game. And the last thing I'll leave with here, the Lakers, here's another thing the Lakers should be worried about. The Timberwolves destroyed them, and DiVincenzo and Nickeil Alexander-Walker combined for 2 for 11 from 3. That's something the Lakers should definitely be worried about because, okay, let's just say that this happens to be the game in game 2 where Jaden McDaniels isn't knocking down shots, right? And maybe Randall's kind of struggling. But you get a hot DiVincenzo, and then you get a hot Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and the Timberwolves are right back in the mix. Like, the problems continue for the Lakers. So that's going to be interesting to look out for. Like, I'm very interested in what are we going to get from DiVincenzo because this guy is not going to stay cold for this much longer, and neither is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Obviously, Nikhil's going to bring it regardless on the defensive end, make the right decisions, make the right extra passes, but when those shots start to fall, the Lakers are going to be in trouble. Here's the one last piece I want to leave with here. The Lakers. This was my concern with the Lakers and why I wasn't really buying their hype in terms of, oh my God, this team's going to the finals. Like, everyone's on that when the Luka trade happened and the defense looked incredible randomly. And I was always in this stance where, look, I love LeBron, love Luka. Reeves has been incredible. Hachi's had good moments. Jackson Hayes has been elevated because of the more playmaking from Luka and LeBron together. But I don't trust the others, right? Like, just the consistent production from the others, specifically Hachimura and Gabe Vincent, right? I trust Finney Smith. I know what Vanderbilt's going to give me. I know he's not going to knock down shots at an elite clip. He's going to do the scrappy things. He's going to get put-back dunks, put-back layups, some tip-ins. He's going to catch something in the paint and get some dunks here and there. Backdoor cuts. Guys are sleeping on him, and he's getting free little baskets. He's going to do his work on the defensive end. So I'm not going to hold him accountable when it comes to a lot of the offensive stuff. But when you're looking at Gabe Vincent, this is a guy that just vanishes for long stretches, and you never know when he's going to come back. So that's something I'm worried about. These four guys, let's just put Vando in the mix. Hachi, Gabe, Finney Smith, and Vando combined for 6 of 20 from the field. The Lakers are not going to come out of this series alive if this group of guys does not show up. And look, do they need to show up at the same time every game? No. But you're going to need 2 to 3 of those guys to show up outside of the core group, right? The trio, if you will. So, that's something that I'm definitely concerned about if I'm the Lakers. Like, now Minnesota can kind of think, all right, these guys are starting to feel that pressure. Going into game 2, you're down 0-1, those shots start to feel a little more pressure, right? When you're down 1 like that and you've already lost home court advantage, you're going to have to go back to play Minnesota in their tough arena. Those fans are intense. They have a great home court. So I don't know. Like, this is going to be very interesting. The Lakers absolutely need to win this game. This is a must win, right? And I think the Lakers are going to take this game. I think they're going to make, hopefully, some adjustments, though I guess the only real adjustment I would say is shots need to fall, and they need to bring some intensity. That's something JJ Redick has just been preaching all season long, is where is the level of compete? That's his literal words. The competitiveness, like, it's just sometimes it's not there for these Lakers. And I'll leave with this last number for the Timberwolves. 18 points off of turnovers to the Lakers 9 points off of Minnesota's turnovers. So Lakers got to take care of the ball, but also make sure that if they are throwing it away, they got to get back and play some defense, man. That's going to do it for this one. I can't wait to watch the rest of these games. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I will catch you guys on the next one.